Today we've got two unknown and astonishing historical facts. We'll prove that some facts are just big lies. Who really discovered the land of the Americas? When we look into any history books, they will all tell us that Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492. How reliable do you think these pieces of information are?
And I'm going to tell you about a funny yet painful event in the history of medieval Europe in 1518. The disease of phratrophia, which took the lives of thousands but entertained them before killing them. This is Futuristic English, and I'm Milad.
And I am Hadi. You're listening to Futuristic English, the podcast on which you can find almost every topic you're interested in, like fascinating historical stories and distinctive books and movies.
Futuristic English, the channel which makes sure you don't fall behind in the world of books, movies, news, and amusing events which can amaze us. If you subscribe in our channel, you'll be able to make use of our superbly erudite episodes primarily made for English language learners.
Please subscribe in our channel to make use of our expertly detailed analysis on every episode's language knowledge, carefully curated for those who are fans of a unique source to build their language knowledge on, all in one place here at Futuristic English.
Do you like dancing, Hadi?
I die for dancing.
Well, I got a great deal for you.
What?
Since you die for dancing, how much would you pay me if I gave you a plague that would make you dance to death?
This is some kind of joke, isn't it?
Well, this is what you wished for, right? Now you can have it.
What the hell are you talking about?
This is without a doubt a mania. Now, this mania took place in July 1518 in Strasbourg in the Roman Empire. You see how precise I am? I even got the date and place for you.
This is what I've been waiting for. Matter of fact, I wanna lose weight. How much for the mania?
Well, you're just a bit late. Just a simple 500 years.
Stop with the puns. Tell me what happened.
Well, the whole thing began on a hot July day when a housewife named Frau Trophia started uncontrollably dancing to a piece of music that no one could hear. She continued dancing for a whole day, and her husband was very embarrassed when he saw what was going on. She slept a restless sleep, and the morning after, she kept on dancing with the wounded feet. Within a week, 34 others had joined her, and within a month, there were around 400 dancers, and they were mostly women. How would you feel if you had 400 people dancing with you all day long? You'd be proud, I guess, huh?
It's getting political. It looks to me a demonstration of some sort.
Well, I'm not sure if it were a demonstration. Based on historical documents, 15 people a day were dying from strokes and heart attacks because of this craze. People were in absolute pain and they were shouting for help. There didn't seem to be any symptoms except the hysterical dance itself. And the city officials consulted with physicians to diagnose a problem. Hot blood was the diagnosis. You know what hot blood is?
No idea what that is.
It was said to be a condition in which the person with hot blood would have his brain overheated and causing the person to become a maniac. Anyway, the physicians and city authorities decided to prescribe people with bloodletting. In the meantime, they thought it would mitigate the situation if they hired bands with music carnivals in the city to eventually tire the dancers out. But you know what? It backfired big time.
Okay. Based on what you said, it worsened the situation. Did the whole country start dancing or what?
Well, since the music carnivals didn't help, it was clear that dancers weren't suffering from hot blood. It was thought that the city was cursed by saints. And you know what happens when it is believed in 1518. No gambling and prostitution allowed, and those who would turn a blind eye on the orders would be kicked out of the city. But did the problem solve itself this easy? You wouldn't think so. The next executive order was to ban music and dancing altogether, especially drums, which were the most enticing instruments known. But to no avail. People kept footloose dancing on the streets non-stop.
Why'd you shut up all of a sudden? Did you just get the silence plague?
Well, I was thinking how to put it in words, because the rest of the story is stunning and hilarious. As it turns out, it never was a plague. Around 10 years after the mania had tired itself out, a Swiss physician named Paracelsus went to investigate the whole thing. He said that Mrs. Trafia was a rebellious woman who set a dancing mania to stop doing house chores. Later on, he blamed all women for this mess.
How did this plague tire itself out?
The officials of Strasbourg turned to Saint Vitus, who had a reputation of curing people. Dancers would be carted to shrines. They were given red shoes which were blessed with holy oil along with little crosses. The shoes seemed to work like a charm, and dancers were able to keep hold of their body control. After curing them with this technique, the plague was called Saint Vitus's plague because apparently it was either caused by him or cured by him.
Is there any modern and logical theory for why this happened?
Well, some modern experts claim that it was the result of poisoned grains which would drive a person crazy and cause abnormalities on skin. Some others believe that they had gotten some mental diseases, but they're not epidemic. On the other hand, there is a more acceptable theory that suggests there might have been a secret cult of dancers which have slipped under the radar. Another theory that makes more sense to me is that it all happened because of a number of successive famines that actually terrorized this community for decades and laid the ground for this hysteria. Between the years 1492 and 1511, the city underwent 4 major famines, and eventually in 1517 the 5th famine killed countless people. Some people called it the Bad Year, which was a very fitting name. In 1518, smallpox and leprosy were on the rise, and the orphanage was packed with over 300 orphans. People were scared to death of being possessed by the devil, and the city was ripe for a huge wave of mass hysteria. They believed their minds were victims of an unseen and a forceful power that would overtake their bodies, which seems true to some extent, since the mania was cured by paying visits to shrines and a pair of holy red shoes.
So you weren't kidding, it was a true story after all.
Yeah, you see how peacefully and democratically it resolved itself?
Yeah.
Alright, have you got anything to say today? Anything about mass slaughtering or crazy plague stories?
This is Futuristic English. In this episode, we've got 2 amusing and historical stories that have been ignored in history books. I got something that's been a monstrous lie in history. Do you know who discovered the Americas?
I think I have a clue. I've been told Christopher Columbus. What, you got a disclaimer today?
Hell yeah, I got a disclaimer.
Jeez, I hope you got some trustworthy info to convince me.
If you look at any history books, they will all tell you that this dude was the one who first stepped on that undiscovered continent.
Okay.
Hasn't it ever dawned on you that others might have discovered the land first? Do you really believe that no one before him ever dared to navigate their ships or any other vessels across the Atlantic? New discoveries and pieces of evidence and fossils suggest that the Chinese or even the Romans reached the Americas first.
Wow, are you serious?
You better keep your excitement to yourself for now because it's getting more interesting.
Okay, go on, I hope it does.
Okay, A team of archaeologists has found several artifacts on the coastline of Oak Island in Canada that dates back to the times when the Roman Empire still ruled Europe and the Mediterranean.
What were those newly found objects?
A Roman sword, a fragment of a shield, and a legionnaires' whistle. You think it would all end up there randomly? You think your saints would send them there? Or your little holy red shoes and your little crosses would cause all that?
Well, they weren't in the mood to discover continents. They were all about cursing and curing.
Let me just get back to my story with you.
Alright.
Based on other discoveries in several US states, the Chinese traveled there nearly to 2,800 years before Columbus stepped on the soil of the Americas. Archaeologists found and identified 84 pictograms on the rocks and hills that were used in ancient China.
What were those pictograms trying to say?
Experts on Neolithic Chinese culture had been trying to decode the meaning of these writings for several years. Many of the symbols carry the information about sacrifices of animals for the ruler and description of the power of nature. You know, scientists suggest that people from Asia could come here from Alaska for trade development or exploration of new territories.
That's some astounding stuff.
Yeah, there is more where that came from. In 1960, the Norwegian explorer Helge Ingsten found several settlements and artifacts dating from about 1080 on the territory of modern Canada. And based on an Icelandic legend, Vikings who were looking for a new home set out to sail the Atlantic Ocean and